I'm feeling so much better than I did yesterday. For those of you who caught my video where I was making my roast chicken, unfortunately I was struck down with a really bad cold, and it was a bit of a miserable day, but otherwise, no, it was all good. I had a good night's sleep, and now I am back on track. So yesterday, for those of you who joined, I made a roast chicken where I took off the carcass out of the chicken and then stuffed my chicken with a stuffing made out of chestnuts, cranberries, apples, and brioche. And so Dwayne and I actually ended up just having...
We're just, all that's missing is the Yorkshire pudding, but we're really hungry, so just to show you the finished product, my roast chicken with stuffed cranberry and apple and all sorts of goodness. It's a brioche-based stuffing. Right, we're gonna go eat. Have a great end of your Sunday and a great start to your week. Bye, guys.
But now I'm left over with actually two Tupperware of roast chicken. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a recipe only using the legs and the thighs.
What you do with your leftovers, I'm going to make a roast chicken cobbler. So the cobbler is a typically American dessert normally, but this time it's going to be a savory version. So you might have heard of, you know, the peach cobbler or apple cobblers or apple crisps, as Americans like to call it, but this one is going to be entirely savory, using purely leftovers and actually some vegetables in my refrigerator that needs using. So aside from the roast chicken, I'm going to be using fennel. I've got a pack of carrots. They're organic from the farm in Kent. I've got some leftover, what is this? Leftover brioche, which I'm going to use to make the cobbler topping. I've got this.
Which, sorry. Anyways, I've got courgette or zucchini if you're an American, and I also have one red onion and one bulb of garlic. I asked yesterday, I think it was yesterday or the day before when I was doing my soup, about an easy way to peel garlic. Normally I would take this and then bash it. Apparently there's an easier way where you take your garlic. I'm going to try this, and this is actually the first time, so I've not done this before. So you basically take your garlic. Oh, hi! I have some friends! Oh, Simone, you're hilarious. Yes. No, it's not an aubergine, it's actually a courgette. Where you take your garlic, you put it in a heavy pan, and then you put your lid on top. Oh, this is a bit awkward. And then you're meant to shake it. Here goes. Okay, well, whoever's idea this was, it doesn't work. It's still complete. So I'm going to revert back to my normal way of peeling a garlic. So I'm going to turn my camera down, or my phone, I should say, so you can see the board. Oh, can you see? Hello. Okay, so I'm going to do that so you can see my lovely board. So we're gonna start with the vegetables and start prepping. I've actually already preheated my oven. It's on 180 degrees Celsius, centigrade rather. Okay, what do I need? I just want 1, 2, 3, 4 cloves of garlic. I think that's enough, don't you? Take off each piece. So what do you guys normally do when you have a big old chicken that you've used for your Sunday roast, and then it's Monday and you've got a whole load of chicken left over? It's so easy to do lots of different recipes. I mean, you could do you could make a different, like a pasta sauce, where you add lots of, I've done it before where I've added sun-dried tomatoes. That's really nice. Some olives, some black olives, some chervil, or basil, actually more basil. Alright, I'm gonna finely chop my garlic, preferably without the tips of my finger. I'd love to know if any of you have ever made a savory cobbler before. How did it turn out? Right, got my little plate for my onion. Right, so just like I showed you yesterday, I'm just going to slice it lengthwise and then into my onion. I just want a rough chop, nothing too complicated. Wasting food is a crime. There's so many people who don't have food, so don't waste your food. That's why it's good to try and use your leftovers. If you're making meals and you've got too many portions, portion them out. Put them in the freezer. I do that all the time. But I've got a whole bunch of these plastic microwave oven safe containers. They're actually used largely by takeaway restaurants. But they're great because one box like this of this size is perfect for one person in terms of portion, and you can microwave them. You can put them in the oven. You can microwave them. Don't put them in the oven. This one happens to be used for my cheese. I'm gonna do the fennel now. Fennel is reaching almost the end of its life, so it really needed using. Okay. I love fennel. I never used to when I was a kid. Fennel always had this very strange flavor, and I think when you grow up and you get older, your taste buds change. They develop and they're able to accept things that perhaps as a child you didn't, you wouldn't have eaten. So I used to hate walnuts, I used to hate mushrooms. To a certain extent I hate mushrooms still, except for wild mushrooms. So my fennel. Next up is my zucchini. I think I'm gonna use the whole thing. So just so that it's manageable, I'm just going to cut it into, what am I going to do? I'm going to cut it into a half, and then I'm going to cut it diagonally. Remember, a zucchini is a vegetable that's it's very spongy and it's quite soft, so it will cook really quickly. So it's one of the vegetables that you put last into whatever dish you're cooking, because otherwise it'll just disintegrate and just become a nasty mess. So I got home today and Dwayne got me a little surprise. I'm so excited. And look. Ta-da! I can stab my meat and I can measure it. Measure the temperature. Perfect. I won't be using it today though, because I'm not roasting anything. Right, I need to peel my carrot. So I'm going to dice them into little cubes. Okay, so what I've done is actually I've cut it into 4 fairly equal lengths, and then I've cut them again in half, and then I'm going to cut them in 3s, and then I'm going to cut them in little cubes. those are the vegetables. Okay, so I'm going to put this to one side. Okay, so now I'm going to prepare the chicken. So the chicken at the moment is it's still on the bone. I'm gonna just be using the, let's get it out actually, so you know what I'm talking about. Right, it's a bit congealed. It still has its legs crossed. And there's a fair amount of stuffing. This is good stuff. I know it looks really gross right now, but this is amazing stuff. And we're gonna use it in the, that's a little bit of fat. So actually, when it's gone into the refrigerator, whatever fat content has dropped into the bottom of your container, it'll be easier to take it out when it's cold straight out of the fridge, because it would have congealed and collected at the bottom of your container. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put my stuffing to one side, because I'm going to use my stuffing in a minute. Okay, that's stuffing. Okay, so I'm going to use my hands for this. I'm going to take off the parson's nose, which you don't want, and the skin, which you don't want, for both the legs and the thigh. Okay. In here. With the meat, I am going to cut them into large chunks, but I'm not going to cut them too finely, because otherwise it won't keep its form. I want to have big gutsy pieces of chicken in here. Okay, let's do the other leg. Okay, so that's my chicken sorted. Okay, so now it's time for the filling. So in a heavy pot, whatever you want to call it, switch it onto high heat. Get your stuff back below. Ooh, the one thing I did forget to do. No, I haven't forgotten. You want to get a sprig of rosemary, and then some what is it called? Parsley. Okay, I'm gonna get 2. And I'm gonna use some for later, but I just want to inject some more flavor into my dish. So I'm gonna set them off to one side. This is looking quite nice. Just a drop of oil. Try and use light olive oil as opposed to extra virgin olive oil when you're cooking. I'm going to bring my vegetables back. Okay, now the first thing we're going to brown, we're going to saute the onions first. Okay, and the garlic. I love that sound. That sizzle. So my onions and garlic are coming along. The next vegetable that I'm going to add is my carrot. So I've purposely chopped my carrots into these little cubes purely because any bigger they would take forever to cook, and it is a Monday night after all, and I just want to have something quick and easy and wholesome and comforting. I don't want to be waiting for hours for my carrots to go all soft. Okay, so I've got my carrots in there. I'm going to reduce my heat to medium. I said medium. I'm going to add my fennel. I love fennel. The smell of fennel. Anything fennel, tarragon, aniseed, anything that's slightly licorice based in terms of flavor profile goes really well with chicken. Okay. 20 grams. That's 20 grams, isn't it? And I'm going to reduce my temperature. I'm adding the butter because I want a little bit of fat in there, because I'm going to add a tablespoon of all-purpose flour to create a roux into my pan here. Notice I do everything in one pan. That's the whole point of the exercise, so you don't have to be cleaning a gazillion different pans. Okay, so my butter is melted. I'm going to add my flour. Just spread it out liberally. Okay, that's it. And then give it a good mix. So by doing that, that's going to help thicken your end product. Okay. This is wine that I brought back from, if I can open it, wine that I brought back from my grandparents in Switzerland. So I want to add about a cupful. So I'm going to just pour it directly there. You want to do that fairly quickly so you don't end up burning the bottom. And then keep stirring. That will just help deglaze the rest, the flour and any flavors that caught at the bottom of the pan. Notice how it's become a bit of a bit unctuous. So it's unctuous. Right, next thing you want to do is you want to add your chicken. There goes my chicken. Clap, clap, clap. The chicken's in there. Now, when it comes to seasoning, pepper, you're safe. You can season as much as you want. Salt, just remember you have actually already seasoned your chicken, so there will be some residual salt in it, so you don't really need to salt it too much. Okay. So my chicken's in there. I am going to add, I'm going to tear up some parsley. I want some freshness in here, and I'm going to add a whole sprig of that. Okay, I'm going to add my zucchini, or what is it called? Courgettes. Okay, and then I'm going to add my chicken stock. So this is a nice, rich, roasted chicken stock that I got from the organic section. Well, you want to fill your dish to about, I would say about 3/4 of the centimeters. You just want to leave about 10 centimeters from where the liquid comes and then the top, because then what you're going to do is you're going to add your cobbler part. So I'm going to leave this. I'm going to increase my temperature back to a to a higher temperature so that it can bring everything to a slight boil, and then once it's reached a boiling point, then I'm going to reduce the temperature down to a gentle simmer. We've got a clean bowl, and we're going to use actually the leftover stuffing into this, because we're going to use all that flavor that's in there. So this is leftover stuffing from yesterday. So you already have some pancetta in there, you've got there's a piece of chicken, some chestnuts in there. You really don't need to add a whole lot. There's enough fat content in there that you don't need to add more fat. You know, usually in a cobbler topping, you would have, very similar to a crumble, you would have cold butter, you would have salt, flour, and sugar. In this case, there's no sugar, obviously, because it's savory. And I feel that there's enough fat content in the stuffing that I don't need to add more fat. So all I'm going to do though is I'm going to add more flour. So I'm going to add flour. So I'm going to add about half a cup of flour, to which I'm going to, when you're doing anything with flour or any pastry making, always salt. It's not because, and even in pastry making, it's not because you want to have a salty end product, but it's just that you want to, it'll bring out the flavor. It makes sense. Okay, this is doing well. Okay, so that's happy. Okay, put 1 egg. I bought these eggs over the weekend, and I just love the yolk. They're so orange. So orange. They're like this time, one of my friends at work, she has her own chickens, and I remember, it was a while ago now, and I remember she brought back some eggs from her chickens, and there's nothing like homegrown eggs from your own chickens. You know that your chickens have been happy. Oh, it's amazing. And I made, what did I make with them? Ooh, I made eggs Benedict, where the yolk was really fudgy. Oh, it was amazing. Best eggs ever. Right. I'm gonna take some more parsley, and I'm gonna finely chop those, as well as a little bit more rosemary. Combine everything together. Okay, it's gonna feel a bit dry, which is absolutely normal. You don't want it to be too wet, but if it is a bit too dry, what you can do, okay, what you can do is you can loosen it up with a little bit of milk. I think what I might do, and don't beat it too much because you don't want to release too much of the gluten found in the flour. I'm going to put a touch of milk just to loosen it up a bit. Okay. Yeah, that's better. So you want the consistency of not so much of a dough, but more of something that's spooning consistency. And I don't mean you're going to take it to bed and spoon it. What I mean is exactly that. Spooning consistency. There you go. It holds, if you spoon it onto a surface, it holds its space. It's going to be a little bit like a dumpling. You know the British stews and their dumplings, they love that. So it'll be that consistency, okay? So that's perfect. That's exactly what I want. So what I'm going to do also is, because I've got some leftover brioche, so naughty, so naughty, but so I've got the filling for my stew. This is basically a stew. You could just serve it like this. It's just the same. Now I'm going to spoon roughly my topping. So I'm going to leave little gaps, and I'll show you why in a second. So I'm going to spoon my cobbler topping, which has the stuffing from yesterday. With my leftover brioche, I'm going to sprinkle some more of this. I know, isn't it naughty? But it's been so cold lately. That's how I'm justifying it. And I skipped lunch. Well, I did have a little lunch. I had a little salad. Okay, so now this is happy. Oh, there's a little bit left. Why waste? Okay, so this is happy now. Okay. Now your dish is almost complete. And the next thing to do is to put it in the oven, which I'm gonna do right now. And then I'm going to report back when my dish is finished, which should take another 20-25 minutes because the chicken has already been cooked. So really it's a case of browning the top of my cobbler and then making sure that my chicken is warmed all the way through, and then it'll be ready. It'll be bubbly, it'll be golden, it'll be delicious. I think my chicken cobbler is ready now. Let's see what's going on. And try not to burn myself for the phone. Oh, this is heavy. Wow. So, this is it. It's nice and bubbly. Can you see? It's bubbling. It's golden. It smells nice. I can smell a little bit of the wine that reduced. I can smell all the different flavors. But time to serve. Let's do this with one hand while I try not to burn myself. Okay. Ooh, I love the crunch. Ooh, oh, okay, there goes. Smells amazing. Okay, I'm gonna swap just a little bit of that. And there you have it. My savory roast chicken leftovers from last night cobbler. Yum. Alright. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining. For those of you who did join. I hope to see you again very soon. And yeah, I'm going to go eat. Bye.